You're listening to the Grind Line Podcast.
What's up, and welcome to another episode of the Grind Line Podcast. You're listening to episode 312. I'm your host, Greg. I'm here tonight with Ryan and Tyler. And like we promised online, we had tracked down the Edmonton Oiler Octopus tosser. We have Tyson coming in from Edmonton. Tyson, how you doing tonight?
Good. Thanks for having me, guys.
Yeah, man. Thanks for taking the time to hop on. We just said it was a great toss. It was a great video. The video you posted online was excellent. I'll have it running on the YouTube for your anonymity and so that you can continue going to games. Your picture during this broadcast will be of your octopus on the ice. But we want to just
Perfect.
we want to start with some questions tonight, and I kind of just want to get your feeling on the season so far. So, from the beginning of this season, I guess let's start even before that. What made you a Red Wings fan living in Edmonton?
I got it from my dad. He kind of stole it from my cousin and uncle. They recently switched over back to be Oiler fans, and I've been a Red Wings fan my whole life. Through the DVY and all those guys. I've stuck with it even through the past 10 years. It's been kind of rough, but things have taken a great turn, so I'm looking excited for the future.
So wait, you said your dad flipped back to Edmonton recently, so there was a lull that they were Wings fans?
So dad stole kind of being a Wings fan from my uncle and cousins. They flipped. So me and dad are still Wings fans, but the original source would be my uncle and cousins. They flipped full Edmonton. But I don't like how the Oilers organization has kind of handled, how they've been. I'm not a fan of them whatsoever. So I love Stevie Y and I've stuck with him. Even Tampa's my second favorite team because he managed there for a while.
So coming into this season, coming out of last season into this season, like what were your expectations for the team?
Were they not 1 point out of playoffs last year? Came down to the third period.
Tiebreaker,
So
yeah, lost to Washington on a tiebreaker.
yeah.
Brutal.
My expectations were pretty well where they are now. To get in a wild card spot. Obviously, the start of the year did not go as planned. The coaching change has helped tremendously. So I really like the path that we're on right now.
Quickly, do you have any trade deadline wishes coming up here?
Just a strong 2C. I know Brock Nelson is UFA, but a rental might not be the right play for the boys. I wanted JT Miller. The goaltending has been pretty solid. I really like the play of Johansson's come up kind of out of the woodwork. He's looked very good. So our young D-men have impressed me so far. If anything, just one really good, strong scorer, probably up the middle.
Yeah, I think we'd all agree on that. I think before we were at like, hey, let's get a top 4D. But like you said, Johansson has proven that he can take over that kind of mantle, at least so far this season. That's been really exciting to see. But let's get down to the octopus. Have you always wanted to throw an octopus?
Yes, ever since I seen them win those cups, and it was the rink staff and the guy threw it around his head, kind of picking it off the ice. I was young, maybe 10, 12 at that time when the Wings were dominant. And ever since he did that, I kind of have the personality of why not? You only live once. And I've always wanted to. So this was the year. I went to the fish store and bought one a week before, and then I went through with it.
It's a little risky, I feel like doing it in not LCA, like doing it in a away arena because I feel like they don't treat you as nicely there. They don't have as much respect for the tradition.
No, I don't think they have any. I don't think Edmonton has a tradition at all towards that stuff. I think it would have been different if I was in Detroit. I don't know if they're allowed to do it there, but I did have an escape plan and then kind of a disguise. So I didn't want to get caught. So I had a little plan to get out and get away and still finish the third period.
I heard in Detroit, if you do it, you just get escorted to the concourse and then they let you go back to your seats.
Yeah, they take you to the concourse. They make you sign this little thing and they tell you, you know, that's not allowed, right? And then you go, yep, I'm sorry. And then they let you go.
Yeah, I don't think that's the path they would have taken in Edmonton, so I didn't want to risk it.
I was at a game in Boston. I want to say it was last year, and there was one on the ice, and the guy got apprehended, arrested. I don't know what happened afterwards, but it wasn't Little Caesars Arena
Rough them
like
up a little
where,
bit, Tyler.
yeah, right.
And if you watch the video, and I will put the video up on the YouTube channel and I'll retweet it again. You had, was it your wife recorded it from the other side of the arena?
Yeah, and there was the TikTok video of the guy right next to me. That wasn't planned at all. Have you seen both
I have not
footages?
seen the TikTok video. No.
No.
So that one is me right next to him, and there were two guys that I kind of went up to in the second intermission, and they were all pumped about it. So there's two different videos.
I'll have to look it up. How much time did you spend planning the octopus toss? Like, what was your whole like game plan? You like the logistics you put in it? Did you like put some real time into thinking about this?
Yeah, about a week prior, ever since I bought the octopus at the store, that's what I fell asleep to at night, planning things out. I watch a few crime shows, so I do know like to plan every angle that plays into my disguise. And I overthink things. So I thought about it for a long time, every single possibility.
Premeditated octopus toss. That is fantastic.
I'm picturing like trench coat, like sunglasses with a fedora, like fake mustache.
No, not at all, actually.
If only you would have done it in a ketchup suit.
Yeah, for McDavid.
Our friend, our friend Jim. So on Twitter,
Oh.
he's known as Sports Jim. He wears a ketchup costume to everything that he goes to. And Jim actually tossed an octopus at Joe Louis Arena, and there's like a framed, like they turned it into a whole like framed photo of him like tossing the octopus. Perfect form.
Oh, wow.
It's pretty cool. Okay, did you boil the octopus because it looked pretty slimy?
No, I didn't. I read online that people have and that I should. I didn't know that they said the benefits it wouldn't stick to the ice, but I didn't really care if it did because if they delayed the game longer, it would get more footage. So that was my reasoning as to why not.
You just
Plus,
went
it's
straight
not home
savage.
ice. Yeah, it's not home ice either, so who cares, right?
Yeah.
Exactly.
I thought the boiling, the reason for that was so it didn't stink as much.
No, it's normally to get the slime off so it doesn't leave mess on the ice. It's to make the ice crew's job easier in cleaning it up normally.
Oh, fuck them.
Yeah, that's what I said. Fuck them.
How did you smuggle it in?
So I wrapped it in 4 ice bags, really tight. I then put it in another white kind of grocery bag. I put it in an old black hat, which I used later for my disguise. I put it by my area, by my waist kind of junk area. And then I stretched out my Wings jersey at the bottom. So it made me look, bigger, and there would be not as obvious of a bulge. It was very obvious.
You
Um,
groined it in. You
No, I
groined the
groined it in.
octopus,
That's the term. I like that.
groining it in. How uncomfortable was it sitting there that whole time with kind of an octopus around your junk?
So how that played out was I just put it there to sneak it in. And then once I got into the building, I bought an Oilers merch bag for $2 and I just threw it in there. So once I was at that point, it was all in the clear. It was just like I bought Oilers merch.
Oh, that's upsetting.
That's such a smart play right there. You don't want to have that by your junk the whole time.
No,
So was that part of
and-
your elaborate plan?
Oh
behind that
yeah,
bag?
that's the part of the week that I thought about things. And I then just threw it underneath my seat when I got to my seat. So I left it there all game. I didn't have to walk with it in between periods or give me some freedom.
I'm assuming there was no smell during that. or
No,
what-
it was because of all the bags it was wrapped in. It was I would have slept with that thing at night. That's how well it was wrapped. There's no way it was leaking anything.
Amazing. So
Yeah.
we've seen the throw, perfect form, great launch, huge octopus. It did hit some nice rotations. landed splat in the center. I don't think it could have gone any more perfect. What was the reaction of the Oilers fans around you?
I don't really know because I just turned around and executed my escape plan. I didn't look. All I seen were the videos. So if you do watch the videos, it was mostly shock though, to summarize that, but I was busy escaping and I didn't look to see any reactions. First and foremost, do not get caught.
I think you may have slimed. There was a slightly older woman kind of by you that may have gotten some octopus slime on her.
Her face was just of straight horror, if that's the one you're talking about.
Yeah, that was probably slime then.
Did security stop you at all, or was your escape 100% successful?
100%. I took my Wings jersey off and my white hat off, and that's when I put my black hat on and I had a black shirt underneath. So when I did it, I was wearing black and a black hat. I then just ran right to the bathroom. I threw on my Wings jersey and my Wings white hat. So my identity was totally disguised.
That's
I ripped to the bar, I grabbed a drink, and as I was walking back to my original seats, because this was the opposite side of the arena, I was scouting those seats from the first and second period, somewhere along the opposite side, an aisle seat, and it worked out that way. So as I was leaving, security was scouring the area. I could see 3 of them looking around, but my identity completely changed. So
you're saying is that even there, like that's very poor security for that arena then.
well, I think they would have needed facial recognition to find me.
And even then you had your face covered, so there's no way that would have worked.
Yeah.
And that
Do
thing
you
is
plan
huge.
on doing this again?
Why not? Sure. Yeah, I'll do it next. I don't see why not. What's the worst that can happen?
Well, you gotta come do it in LCA.
Yeah, I've never seen a game in Detroit, so one of these days I'm gonna have to come on down, and if I do, I'll make for sure let you guys know.
We will absolutely come.
I'm just telling you, as someone that lives not in Michigan, not in Detroit, going to a Wings game in Detroit is a whole nother experience. Now, you won't get to experience the Joe, but you will get to experience a great time at Little Caesars Arena.
I've heard that it's something else. It sucks watching games away and listening to that Oiler crowd yell for a goal. So I'd love to come cheer with the home crowd. I've never got to do it in my life, so I do have to come down one day.
You should come to the home opener next year. We do the home opener every single year.
Yeah, we get a big group. If you follow along online, we get somewhere in the ballpark of maybe 40 people out at the home opener. That is
Yeah.
just just the online community, the people that have all met on Twitter. We all meet up for the home opener. We've done it like what, 4 years in a row now, 5 years?
Yep.
Been a while.
40 octopi.
Yeah, we could all throw one. They can't catch us all, right? That would be a massive delay of game, like
Oh,
absolutely
yeah.
massive. All right, so Tyson, first I want to thank you for joining us tonight. And the last question I have for you is: do the Red Wings make the playoffs this season?
Absolutely.
Believe
Yeah,
in the
no
Todd
que-
father, right?
I believe in the Todd father. For sure the boys get in.
Absolutely amazing. Well, Tyson, thank you for taking time out of your day today to join us on the podcast. And if you do end up throwing one again, or you do make it to a game in Michigan, hit us up. We'll make sure we're there.
All right. Thanks a lot, guys, for having me. And I will definitely let you know. Thanks a lot.
Yep. Thanks for hopping on.
Okay.
Appreciate it,
Yep.
Tyson.
This ain't the little itty bitty teeny tiny bowl. This is the Super Bowl. Get in on the action at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of Super Bowl 59. Scoring touchdowns is key to hoisting the Vince Lombardi trophy, and you have a shot to score big by betting on them at DraftKings Sportsbook, the #1 place to bet touchdowns. New DraftKings customers can bet $5 to get $200 in bonus bets instantly. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code THPN. That's code THPN for new customers to get $200 in bonus bets instantly when you bet just $5. Only on DraftKings Sportsbook. The crown is yours.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas, 21 and over. Age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/ice.
Once again, we want to thank Tyson for taking some time out. I told him, I'm going to get a hold of this guy. We're going to have him on the podcast. We're going to have him walk through the process. Pretty funny how he Inspector Gadgeted the whole thing. He had his disguise and he got in and out and it was beautiful. If you haven't seen the video, it's over on Twitter. We reposted it.
The fact that he legit spent over a week-ish is amazing.
It's awesome.
Playing this out, he had top to bottom what he was going to do. And then the fact that he went to the other side of the rink to actually throw it instead of being near his seat. So damn well that his wife was probably giggling that whole time, like, this is freaking awesome, but also probably terrified on the inside because not knowing if he's going to actually come back to the seat or not. But
that's amazing.
Apparently he is a man of many disguises and did it. That's so awesome.
So what we're going to finish tonight on is we do have a win to talk about since me and Ryan recorded a couple days ago. The Detroit Red Wings beat the Seattle Kraken in a shootout 5-4. Your goal scorers, Jonathan Berggren, Lucas Raymond, Moritz Seider, Elmer Soderblom, and then the most beautiful backhand bar down shootout goal from Patrick Kane. Gave him the most shootout goals for an NHL player in NHL history. I mean, he passed his buddy Taves and third place former Red Wing Franz Nielsen. It was a good game. I stayed up way too late watching it. The Red Wings were dominant pretty much the entire game. And then in the third, let Seattle back into it. But Seattle, on every single chance they had, they pretty much capitalized.
That wasn't a great game from Talbot, I didn't think. I think some of those those 2 5-hole goals are brutal. You can't you can't let those in. Jesus.
But it's yes, but at the same time, they played enough at their 4th game of the road trip. They did what they had to do to still win the game. The fact they stole the point, you want to call it stealing a point, because really Detroit played well, but Seattle, until I passed out, was playing extremely fast. So
they bought it. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's not a surprise because I feel like every time that Detroit's playing them, I mean, you could even argue the last game, and McClellan made the comment. Detroit came out on all cylinders, scoring 4 goals in the first, and then Seattle still managed to make it a game. So every time it seems that they're playing each other, it's pretty high intensity. So holding on in Seattle to win that game and then steal and sweep your points on this road trip, dude, come on.
And the first 4-game road trip sweep since 1994.
Yeah, that's
1994.
Wild.
That is an insane, that's how you know, this team it's hot. And even though the score was 5-4 in a shootout, the Red Wings played a very good game and probably their best game of the road trip. They played against the Seattle Kraken. And you're right, Tyler. I will put some of the blame on Cam Talbot. There are a couple that Cam Talbot knew he should have had because of his reaction after it went in. One of the goals should not have been a goal. The knee-on-knee to Michael Rasmussen, which I'm surprised that hasn't come up with any kind of review for discipline yet that I have seen.
Was it a knee? I mean, it looked like he just got foot on foot.
No, it was knee. It was knee because
replay?
McClellan, even after it, yelled from the bench he hit his knee. So that should have been called.
It doesn't matter if he hit his knee or not. He stuck his leg out. That's a fucking.
I'm not fighting that aspect. I'm just asking, was it an actual knee? I mean, it was 100% a trip. The fact that his
leg out for sure.
Ref was right behind that entire situation and said play on was incredible because literally they went right down the ice and scored within seconds.
Yep. So it should not have gone to overtime because that initial goal should have never happened. But the Red Wings find a way to win. Like I said, top performers, Dylan Larkin, Lucas Raymond, Marco Kasper. That top line was phenomenal all night. Marco Kasper, the engine he has on him is another level. Lucas Raymond doing his best Henrik Zetterberg impression with the passes. Dylan Larkin, just all night he was on top of it. And I mean, it's just Lucas Raymond is developing into a superstar, like directly in front of us. It's absolutely fantastic to see.
I wish we had a comparison.
Henrik Zetterberg.
Is it Zetterberg? Do you think so?
Yeah, I mean, that's the closest comparison I can think. And I think George Malik quote tweeted, and I said it was a
Yep.
Zetterberg like pass. And George Malik's like, a couple years ago, it would have been absolutely absurd to compare, or you're getting ahead of yourself comparing Lucas Raymond to Henrik Zetterberg. And as of right now, you're not really getting ahead of yourself at all because he looks like this on a nightly basis.
As a right-handed version of Henrik Zetterberg, it's weird. Both Swedes.
This is what we hoped for, I think, coming into the season. There's a few guys that we talked about that needed to really elevate their game even further than what we saw last year. I think we all knew that Raymond would be that guy. I don't think we were expecting to this point 58 points in 54 games.
Didn't I say 90 points at the beginning of the season?
Did you? But I guess what I think about is the fact that he is over a point per game. You've got Larkin, who had struggled early, but now he's clawing his way back to a point per game. But you've got all three, Larkin, Raymond, and DeBrincat, over 20 goals on the season. Huge. You're going to have potential, likely 330, close to 35, almost 40 goal scorers on this roster. That's terrifying in the sense that there's not a lot of depth scoring going on. But you do look at a guy like Marco Kasper, for instance, who again got on the score sheet last night. Since Todd McClellan took over, has 13 points in 20 games. He's on fire. The kid is doing awesome things. And for reference, he's got 20 points on the season in 49 games. So 13 of his points have come since Todd McClellan took over this roster. Yes, obviously it helps that he was promoted to the top line, but that speaks to the way that he has played hockey and how he's complementing guys like Larkin and Raymond in the way that they are making an impact each and every night.
Yeah, chemistry is huge. Those three seem to have great chemistry. I mean, you have Lucas Raymond, who's still pretty young. You have Larkin, who pushes the piano, to not use an old reference from the days of Datsuk and Zetterberg with Abdelkader. But Marco Kasper, man, I mean, he's like, Raymond and Larkin are fantastic, and Kasper is equally as good most nights.
You know what I tend to forget about Kasper? He's 20.
Yeah.
I know, 20. And Raymond is still, at least per Hockey Reference, 22. He'll be 23 at the end of March, whereas Kasper is 20. He'll be 21 in April.
Just in time for the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
So I think Will Birchfield said it really well earlier on Twitter. I'll just take it right from his tweet. It says, it's not more shots. Everything on video makes total sense. At both ends, the Red Wings are playing more freely under McClellan. When you're entrusted to play that way, you look faster. Whereas if you're not, you end up looking slow. And that, I mean, another case for that is look how Jonathan Berggren has looked under McClellan. Berggren last night with a goal that was like a really pretty goal on the power play and put the Wings up at that point. He's letting guys, for lack of a better phrase, play fucking hockey. That's what he's doing. He's letting them go out and play hockey in their style, which is opening up a lot more offense, which is allowing the defensemen to pick their path and play defense the way they know they need to play defense. Mo Seider has hit another gear under McClellan. Elmer Soderblom has come in and he freaking launched Montour into space last night. It was fantastic to see. I wish Michael Rasmussen would do what Elmer Soderblom is doing and just going out there and being an absolute menace on the ice and scoring goals, getting points, and just doing all the little things correctly. And that's what Dan Cleary had originally said about Elmer Soderblom is when Elmer can become more consistent, when he can do the same thing every night and be there and use his body and use his hands and make plays and stop pucks, that's when he will be an everyday NHLer. And at this point, when Comfort comes back, I know Dominic Shine got sent back to Grand Rapids. I don't think you can take Elmer out of the lineup.
No, definitely not. I agree 100%. He's playing big. I know obviously he's a monster of a man, but he's playing big. He's playing consistent. His reach is incredible. His stick is incredible, in on the forecheck and making plays in and around the net. I mean, what if I'm not saying they would do this, but what if you put him on the first line? What would the production look like at that point? Because I'm telling you right now, man, that kid in front of the net or on power play 1 in front of the net, what would that look like? I'm not trying to say he's a first line player or anything like that. I'm just saying, like, just imagine it and wait, what would that look like? Because that kid, the sky's the limit if he continues to show the effort level every single night, because he brings it. I remember early on in his first couple games with the Wings. Yeah, he's big, he's kind of gangly, didn't really fit into his body. Now it looks like he fits into his body. Now it looks like he's pretty sure of the plays he's going to make before he makes them. And then he just does everything hard. I love it. We love players like that. And one thing I just want to say is these last 8 years or so without the playoffs have sucked. Seeing guys like Soderblom, seeing guys like, we haven't even talked about him yet, but Seider and all these guys. I mean, come on, man. This has been worth it.
Oh, absolutely. One thing you mentioned about Soderblom is that he's bringing the effort. And that was a big question mark, really, even into last season, is are you going to bring, we know you're not going to be perfect every game, but is the effort going to match what is required of you to be an impact player at high level AHL and into the NHL? And that was kind of the question mark I think we could agree on. So to see that, to what your point there, and also that plays into what we've talked about the last couple of weeks with McLellan's style of hockey, is that everyone's playing at a different pace than we saw throughout the entire season up until him taking over. And it's frustrating again, because they've had what, 2 6-7 game win streaks since McLellan took over. And you sit here as a fan, you're like, what the hell was going on at the other points of the season? Because
nothing was going on, Ryan.
But you just look at who they're beating. They're not slouch games. Like, they're beating top teams in these win streaks and doing it impressively. But then you go back to anything prior to December 27th, you're just like, yeah, okay, this is likely going to be a loss. But it's the same group of guys. And that's easily the most frustrating point.
And anybody that comes into the lineup seems to produce. You notice that? Soderblom comes in, he produces. Shine comes in, he may not have done much on the scoreboard, comes in, makes a physical presence, kills penalties, all that stuff. Like, where was this before with the players, coming up into the NHL? There was no development, it felt like, other than the top guys.
Almost like Yzerman can draft. And that's what I've been saying. It's like, oh, he can draft. But speaking of beating good teams, the Red Wings do have one more game left before the break for the Four Nation faceoff against Tampa Bay Lightning, who are 1 point below them in the standings currently. I'm not going to call it a must-win game because we're in a good position right now, and no game for the foreseeable future for me is a must-win anymore because we have gotten to this point. But that is a game where if you can win it, and if Boston goes on to win tonight, they leapfrog you and you are in the second wild card. If you win and you beat the Tampa Bay Lightning, you solidify that the first wild card position at least, and have a chance to leapfrog Ottawa for third in the division. Ottawa right now has 62 points. So it's a big game. What are your keys to the game coming up?
Well, I think what's going to be key first is seeing what happens tomorrow night, because Ottawa and Tampa play again. So in a way, it's like, who do you want to win that one?
Okay, so I'll take it back. Ottawa needs to win tomorrow.
Okay. So we're on the train of watching Tampa finally phase out and go away.
Implode like a dying star.
Yeah, and guess what? I don't think they are. I don't think they're going anywhere, that team. The Kucherov, the Lightning.
Tampa?
The Lightning, yeah. I don't think that team's going anywhere. Honestly, I think that team, between the Gensel signing and the trade for Brandon Hagel, a couple years ago, and Kucherov is still doing his thing, points getting better. I mean, Hedman obviously is getting older, but Ryan McDonough slides back in, and he's 34, and he still looks like he's 27. Yeah, I don't think that. Plus, you get the best goalie in the league, or one of the best goalies in the league. Obviously, you can argue that between him and Hellebuck and Shesterkin and a couple of others. Yeah, I don't think Tampa's going anywhere other than, I mean, they're a really good team. If you're gonna beat them, you gotta bring your game. It's got to be a similar game to what you played a couple weeks ago when they came into LCA. You gotta shut down Kucherov. You gotta not take penalties because that team will make you pay on the power play. Yeah, that's a good team. I mean, the Senators I think are a little bit more fugazis than the Tampa Bay Lightning.
It's interesting because the Sens have 2 more games before the break hits, and so does Tampa. Where in Boston, actually no, Tampa has 3 more games. Get back, it looks like Boston's playing in there. They're playing tonight. They've got a game on Saturday. They play, just those. So there's some points that are going to be swinging around before the break hits. So these 2 points, at least a minimum of a point on Saturday, is going to be important. And it's going to be interesting because it's a 1:00 game on ABC.
Nice. I like afternoon games. There have not been enough afternoon games this season.
The whole world can see Calgary and Seattle and Vancouver. Obviously, if you're a hockey fan, you're paying attention to that. However, there's a difference between that and then going and doing it on national TV against Tampa Bay Lightning, who have won 3 Stanley Cups, and with a really good team still. That's where you're going to start getting attention from people that are casuals and other teams too. I mean, because yes, I'm sure there's teams in the NHL that take the Wings seriously, and I think most of them do. But I'm sure there's some of these teams that are like, yeah, but they're still super young, and but they're playing fucking good hockey right now. And what better of a way than to show everybody in America who's watching that game that you're the Detroit Red Wings and you're fucking here to stay.
Well, what's interesting to your point there, Tyler, is that the Red Wings have had Tampa's number. Their last 5, Detroit's 1-4. Or I'm sorry, 4-1.
Yeah, the only loss was the one in Tampa earlier this season, where I think that was right after the winning streak, the first winning streak with McClellan, and they got blown out. I think it was 4-0 before you could even get to your seat. I think it early in the second period, it was 4-0. I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah, Detroit's outscoring them 15-12 over that 5-game stretch right now. So,
Tyler, socials.
Yeah, you can follow me on Twitter at SteelDog91.
Ryan.
Ryan33.
And I might have misspoke. Big Head Hockey posted on Twitter. It says the last time Detroit Red Wings swept a 4-game road trip was March 1996. But the interesting part of this tweet is their roster had Steve Yzerman, Nick Lidstrom, Paul Coffey, Sergei Fedorov, Dino Ciccarelli. So it was a long time ago. And that's a big team to kind of latch onto and have kind of stats that line up with, which is pretty cool. You can follow me online at Bringing the Wing. You follow the Grindline Podcast online at Grindline Pod. We do thank the Hockey Podcast Network for hosting us and spreading us around. Vintage Detroit, where we have our exclusive t-shirt collection. It's the only place we get our Detroit jerseys from and worked on. They're absolutely phenomenal. If you go over there, click on the Keep It Local tab, select the Grindline Podcast. You can see all of our designs over there at Vintage Detroit. And you can go to YouTube and sub to us at Grindline Pod. Turn on those notifications. You'll get notified every time an episode goes live. But that is going to do it for us tonight. So for Ryan and Tyler, I am Greg. You stay classy, Hockey Town.